Tonight, I want you to forget everything you think you know about your place in the universe, not because it's wrong, but because it's incomplete. Right now, as you sit here, breathing, listening, existing, you feel grounded, you feel still, but that feeling is an illusion, because at this very moment, you are moving through space at over 1,000,000 miles per hour, and yet, you don't feel a thing. Let that sink in. Every second, you are being carried across the cosmos, not by choice, not by effort, but by something far larger than you can see. Your entire life, every memory, every decision, every moment you've ever experienced has happened inside a structure so vast that your brain was never designed to truly comprehend it. We call it the Milky Way. It sounds simple, familiar, almost small, but that name hides something extraordinary, because this galaxy you call home stretches across 100,000 light years, not miles, not kilometers, light years, which means even if you could travel at the fastest speed possible in the universe, it would still take you 100,000 years just to go from one side to the other. And yet, that's only the beginning. Because the Milky Way isn't just big, it's alive with motion. Hundreds of billions of stars, each one moving, orbiting, drifting through an invisible structure shaped by gravity and time. Some of those stars are dying, exploding in violent bursts that outshine entire galaxies. Others are being born, right now, in silent clouds of gas and dust, and somewhere, in one quiet corner of this vast system, there's a small, unremarkable star that you orbit. We call it the Sun, and around it, a tiny planet, barely visible on any cosmic scale. That planet is everything you've ever known. Now here's where things start to change, because for most of human history, we believed this galaxy was the entire universe, everything that exists, everything that ever was, all contained in this one structure. But we were wrong, completely wrong, because beyond the Milky Way, there are not hundreds, not thousands, but hundreds of billions of other galaxies, each one just as complex, just as massive, just as real. And suddenly, our massive galaxy doesn't feel so massive anymore. This is the paradox. Something can be unimaginably large and still be insignificant at the same time. And tonight, you're going to understand why. You're going to see the Milky Way, not as a picture in the sky, but as what it truly is, your cosmic home, a place that is both extraordinarily vast and unbelievably small, depending on how far you're willing to look. Now that you've seen the scale, let's slow down, because understanding the Milky Way doesn't start with numbers. It starts with perspective. Imagine, for a moment, that you could leave Earth, not in a rocket, not in a spacecraft, but as a point of awareness. No weight, no limits, no time. You rise above the surface of the planet, and within seconds, Earth begins to shrink. The cities disappear, the continents blur, and soon, that entire world becomes nothing more than a small blue sphere suspended in darkness. Keep going. You pass the moon, a distance that took humanity thousands of years to reach, now crossed in moments. Further still, you move beyond the orbit of Mars, past Jupiter, past Saturn, with its silent rings stretching like frozen waves in space. And then, you reach the edge of what we call the solar system, a boundary defined not by walls, but by influence. The sun's gravity begins to fade, its light grows weaker, and behind you, everything you've ever known is already too small to see. Now here's where it gets interesting, because even after traveling this far, you haven't even left your neighborhood, not your galaxy, not even close. You're still inside a tiny bubble, orbiting just one star out of hundreds of billions. This is the first shift most people never truly grasp. Space is not big in the way we normally think. It's not like crossing a country or even a planet. It's something else entirely. Distances here don't behave like distances on Earth. They expand beyond intuition, beyond imagination. Now continue moving outward. The nearest star system begins to appear, a faint point of light. This is Proxima Centauri, the closest star to our Sun, and even at the speed of light, it would take over 4 years to reach it. 4 years, traveling faster than anything in the universe, and that's the closest one. Let that settle. Because when you look up at the night sky, every star you see is separated by distances like this. Vast gaps of emptiness, silent stretches of space, where nothing happens for years, decades, sometimes centuries. Now expand further. Zoom out enough, and something begins to emerge. Those individual stars start forming patterns, clusters, streams. A faint structure begins to take shape. Not random, not chaotic, but organized. You begin to see it. A vast spiral, stretching across unimaginable distances, arms of stars, curving outward from a dense central core. This is the Milky Way, your home galaxy. From this distance, it finally becomes visible, not as scattered points of light, but as a complete structure, a rotating system, bound together by gravity, holding everything in motion. Now look closer. Inside those spiral arms are billions of stars, some larger than the sun, some smaller, some ancient, burning for billions of years, others newly formed, just beginning their existence, each one a system of its own, with planets, moons, possibly even life. And somewhere, hidden within one of those outer spiral arms, is a small region known as the Orion Spur. It's not special, not central, not important on a galactic scale. It's just a quiet stretch of space, and inside it, a single star, your Sun, orbiting the center of the galaxy at a speed of around 828,000 kilometers per hour, completing one full orbit. Every 230 million years, that's one galactic year, which means since the time dinosaurs existed, the Sun has only completed about one orbit around the Milky Way. One. Everything in human history, every civilization, every war, every invention, has happened in less than a fraction of a single galactic cycle. Now shift your attention to the center, the core of the Milky Way. Dense, bright, chaotic, stars packed so tightly that the night sky there would never be dark. Thousands of stars visible at all times, but beauty comes with a cost, because at the very center, there's something else, something massive, invisible, a gravitational anchor holding the entire galaxy together, a supermassive black hole. It doesn't glow, it doesn't shine, but its presence shapes everything around it. Stars orbit it, light bends around it, and anything that gets too close never escapes. This is the heart of the Milky Way, a place of extremes, of power, of motion. And yet, you are nowhere near it. You exist far out in the calmer regions, a safer distance, where stars are spread apart, where catastrophic events are rare, where stability allowed something extraordinary to happen. Life, that distance, that positioning, is not random. It's part of why you're here at all. Because if Earth were closer to the center, radiation would be too intense, gravitational chaos too unstable. If it were farther away, there wouldn't be enough heavy elements to form planets like yours. But here, in this quiet middle region, conditions were just right. Not perfect, but possible. And that possibility is what you are. A conscious observer, inside a galaxy, trying to understand the very structure that made you. But we're not done yet, because as vast as the Milky Way feels right now, as complete as it looks from this distance, it's about to become something else entirely, because the moment you zoom out further, everything you just understood starts to shrink.
Now, keep moving. Don't stop at the edge of the Milky Way, because this is where perspective truly begins to break. As you drift farther out, that massive spiral galaxy you just explored starts to shrink, slowly at first, then faster. Those billions of stars compress into a soft glow. The spiral arms blur, the bright core fades, and eventually, the Milky Way becomes just another point of light in a much larger darkness. This is the second shift, because everything that once felt enormous now feels small, and not just small, replaceable. Because as your view expands, you begin to notice something unsettling. The Milky Way is not alone. Another galaxy appears nearby, faint at first, then clearer, larger, more extended. This is Andromeda, the closest major galaxy to us. And it's not just a neighbor, it's actually bigger than the Milky Way, containing nearly 1 trillion stars, stretching over twice the diameter. And right now, it's moving toward us, slowly, inevitably, in about 4.5 billion years. These two galaxies will collide, not like an explosion, but like a slow dance. Stars passing each other across vast distances, gravitational forces reshaping both systems, creating something entirely new. A merged galaxy, born from two giants, but from where you are now. That future event feels quiet, almost peaceful, because distance removes urgency. Now zoom out further, and suddenly, more galaxies begin to appear. Not just one or two, but dozens, scattered across space, different shapes, different sizes. Some spirals like the Milky Way, others stretched, distorted, or completely elliptical. Together, they form a structure, a cluster. This is known as the local group, your cosmic neighborhood. It contains around 50 galaxies, most of them small, dwarf galaxies, some with only a few million stars, barely holding themselves together, and among them, two dominant giants, the Milky Way and Andromeda. Everything you've ever known, every star you've ever seen, exists inside just one member of this small group. Now pause for a moment, because here's the realization most people miss. Even after leaving your galaxy, you're still not far. You're still inside a structure, still part of something larger, still not even close to the true scale of the universe. So keep going, pull back further. The local group begins to shrink. Those 50 galaxies compress into a tiny cluster of light, barely distinguishable, and surrounding it, more clusters appear. Hundreds, then thousands, each one filled with galaxies of their own. This is where the scale becomes overwhelming, because now you're no longer looking at galaxies. You're looking at groups of galaxies, organized into something even larger, a supercluster. This one is called the Virgo supercluster. It spans over 100 million light years, contains tens of thousands of galaxies, and holds more mass than you can meaningfully imagine. From this distance, the Milky Way is gone. Not invisible because it disappeared, but because it's too small to matter at this scale. Try to picture that. Everything you've ever experienced, reduced to something that can't even be seen. Not because it's unimportant, but because scale has changed. Now go further. And this is where things truly begin to dissolve. The Virgo supercluster shrinks, just like everything before it. It becomes part of something even larger, a structure so vast, it didn't even have a name until recently. Laniakea, a supercluster of superclusters, spanning over 500 million light years, containing around 100,000 galaxies, including your own. And all of it is moving, flowing, being pulled toward a single region in space, known as the Great Attractor. You can't see it clearly. It's hidden behind dense cosmic dust, but its gravitational pull is undeniable. Everything in this region of the universe, including the Milky Way, is slowly drifting toward it. You are not stationary. You never were. You are part of a vast motion, a cosmic current flowing through space. Now stop. Look around. Take in what you're seeing, because at this scale, something strange happens. The universe no longer looks random. It begins to form patterns, filaments, threads of galaxies stretching across space, intersecting, connecting, surrounding enormous voids, regions where almost nothing exists. This is the cosmic web, the largest structure we know, and within it, superclusters are just nodes, small intersection in a vast network. Now try to find the Milky Way, not by zooming in, but from here, you can't. It's gone, completely lost in the structure. And this is the paradox you were promised. Because earlier, the Milky Way felt enormous, almost infinite. A system so large it took light 100,000 years to cross it. But now, it's not even visible, not even a dot, not even a fraction. Both are true at the same time, and that realization changes something inside you, because it forces a question. If your entire existence, everything you've ever known, is this small, in this vast structure, then what does big actually mean? What does important mean? What does central mean? Because from here, there is no center, no special position, no privileged location, just structure, just motion, just scale. And somewhere within all of this is you, not separate from it, not observing from outside, but embedded within it, made from the same elements, following the same laws, moving through the same space. You are not in the universe, you are part of it. And as you begin to understand that, the Milky Way stops being just a galaxy. It becomes something else, a layer, a step, one level in a structure. That keeps expanding the further you look. And we're still not done, because beyond even this, there are limits, not of size, but of observation, boundaries to what we can see, and what lies beyond them might be even more unsettling.